Good morning and welcome to this exciting day to talk business. It's Business 360 and my name is Blyden Okem. In today's Business 360, we'll look at the key features in the world of business. One of the interesting part of this would be that the federal government is imposing a 22 billion naira fine on oil firms over gas flaring. Also, we'll look at inflation rate in Tanzania, as Tanzania's inflation rate eases to 7-month low of 4.7 babies. It is offering new parents $10,500, and we begin from there. South Korean parents are being showered with cash, but experts say money alone will not fix it. In 2022, the average number of babies expected per South Korean woman dropped to 0.78, down from the previous record low of 0.81 the previous year. According to the replacement rate in developed countries, the number of births needed are scrambling to provide payments and other benefits to anyone who gives birth to a child. Since 2022, mothers have received cash payments of 2 million won, an equivalent of $1,510 upon the birth of a child, more than in famously socialist France. Families receive 700,000 won, an equivalent of $528 in cash per month for infants up to the age of 1, and 350,000 won, an equivalent of $2,264 per month for infants under 2, $377 respectively in 2024. While looking at the outlines in global analysis, we move to Chile. Chilean's Congress approves bill reducing workweek to 40 hours. Chilean legislators have overwhelmingly passed a bill reducing the country's workweek from 45 to 40 hours in a bid to improve the quality of life and rights of workers in the southern region, after being unanimously approved by the Senate several weeks ago. Chile's left-wing president, Gabriel Boric, who is expected to sign the bill into law, hailed it as a pro-family project that aims at good living for all. Good time to come back home to look at the perspective of businesses in Nigeria. The federal government will impose a 22 billion naira, an equivalent of $49 million fine between January and February 2023. According to latest gas flare data by the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, the companies operating onshore will pay the penalties for violating the gas flaring rule. Companies operating onshore flared 24.5 billion standard cubic feet of gas valued at $85.8 million, with 49 million had in recent times led companies and campaigns for gas monetization as against flaring. Talking about Nigeria's business outlook, the price of premium motor spirit, popularly called petrol, has risen by 81% in the past 3 years, according to the National Bureau of Statistics report. The findings showed that the federal government has paid about 5.83 trillion naira subsidy on petroleum products. NBS data showed that between February 2020 and February 2023, 76 kobo per litre. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, said last week Nigeria had borrowed $800 million from World Bank for the purpose of palliatives for Nigerians ahead of the fuel subsidy removal. However, there are fears that a removal of fuel subsidy might be drastic for the populace as the countdown to the June 2023 date for subsidy removal inches closer. And it's quite concerning from a Nigerian point of view. Full of includes provision for possible jail sentences for those who promote Ponzi schemes in Nigeria. The Investment and Securities Service Bill 2023 finally scaled through the final hurdle of the National Assembly when the Senate passed it on March 29th. The bill, which is expected to aid the functioning of the capital market and facilitate the ongoing economic diversification in the country, had been passed by the House of Representatives. Plenary, the Senate President Ahmed Lawan stated that the bill is expected to protect investors, adequately regulate the market, reduce systemic risks, as well as provide for a more stringent punishment for operators of Ponzi schemes in the country. 2023. Let's look at the global calendar to see the statistics coming out today. The calendar this morning will give different outlooks to different persuasive tendencies and techniques. The outline will be quite different by the time we get to explore the envisaged ideas in the global calendar, looking at global growth and the forecast according to IMF. The IMF revises global growth forecast lower. Global growth forecast is at a lower state according to IMF to 2% is needed to bring down inflation. The fallout from the recent deterioration in financial conditions and the ongoing war in Ukraine has been part of the conditions causing this. Meanwhile, global inflation is seen decreasing to 7% this year from 8.7% in 2022 on the back of lower commodity prices, but core consumer price index is likely to decline more slowly. Let's go to the chart to see these indices. .1% in 2014 and further slowed down to 2.8% in 2016. Went back up to 3.3% in 2018 and went totally under negative at negative 3.3% in 2020. Afterwards improving subsequently. In Africa, Tanzania's annual inflation rate ebbed for the second month to 4.7% in March 2023 from 4.8% in the previous month. It was the lowest reading since August last year amid a slower rise in prices of transportation in February, clothing and footwear, miscellaneous goods and services, housing, and utilities. On the other hand, prices accelerated mostly for food and non-alcoholic beverages and restaurants as well as hotels. On a monthly basis, consumer prices inched up by 0.8% in March after a 0.4% rise in the prior month. It would be a good time to look at the chart indicating Tanzania's inflation rates, as inflation reflects the cost of living, rise in commodity prices, as well as weakness in the economy of the country. In Tanzania, as at April 2022, inflation rates stood at a low point of 3.8%, but went further upward to 4.5% in July 2022. As at October 2022, inflation had peaked to 4.9% and stood there for a while, before dropping downward slightly in December to 4.8% and went back up to 4.9% in January 2020. A good time to look at the top 10 African countries where it is most expensive to eat. It can be very expensive these days finding food, and as the poverty level in Africa is so high. Food is a basic necessity for survival and a fundamental component of our daily lives. However, for many, impact people's ability to afford nutritious and healthy meals, which can ultimately affect their health and well-being. We'll be looking at a list of the top 10 African countries where it is most expensive to eat. And we'll get to look at it when we return from this break. Don't go anywhere. Thank you for being there. It's Business 360. My name is Blyden Ukem. Talking about the top 10 African countries where it is most expensive to eat. We'll be looking at the food price index based on the weighted average of number groceries index and restaurants index. Here are the top: food price index and the groceries index, as well as restaurants index. At number 1, Senegal with 40.7 food price index level. Mauritius at number 2, 37. Namibia at number 3, 35. Zimbabwe number 4, 33.6 at food price index level. South Africa at number 5 at 32.5. Botswana at 31.6 at number 6. Ivory Coast 31.4 at number 7. Kenya number 8, 28.4. Cameroon 28.1. And Nigeria at number 10, 27.3. As the number groceries index and restaurant has shown all these that we're talking about. Further looking at the context, they'll be looking at the very best of the stories in the world of business. We'll move to the metal market as Bob Icino is standing by to give us outlines regarding the metal market. Copper rallies.
Metal Squadron today taking a look at the May copper futures contract, which is now higher, up 3 of the last 4 sessions after dropping for 3 consecutive. On the downside, hardly any movement at all. As a matter of fact, the low today, 3.9780, was up 4 basis points from yesterday's settlement of 3.9765, and on the finish today, up about 1.5%, up over 4.035, I should say. This is also the biggest single percentage move higher since March 23rd. So a pretty good session today for copper, the industrial metal. Now, China data is part of the reason. New yuan loans were stronger than expected and inflation was lower than expected. Well, what does that mean? Well, China's month-over-month inflation rate actually came in negative, down 0.3.
Indices are in the market, the metal market this morning. The metal market has given some positivity for some of these commodities, gold in particular, moving up this morning by 7.74 points. Yesterday we saw a slight decline for gold, but it's back upward. Current price $2,010 per ounce. For silver is slightly upward, $25 per ounce. Copper is slightly downward this morning, but steel price is up by 11 points, 3,972 Chinese yuan per ton. Let's also look at the agricultural market then to see what the price of soybeans, wheat and the rest are. Soybeans is slightly downward this morning by 5.75 points, a negative 0.38 percentage points. Current dollars per bushel, a 0.66 percentage appreciation. Palm oil has fallen by 103 point mark, a 2.65 percentage decline. Current price for palm oil is 3,786 Malaysian ringgit per ton. Let's have a look at the metal market. Rally since the OPEC announcement. Bob has more. Bob Icino.
In the energy quadrant today, looking at the May West Texas Intermediate crude oil futures contract, which jumped over 2% today, best day on a percentage basis since the OPEC and OPEC Plus production cut announcement. Today on the high side of things, 81.59 for the May contract was a high that was up 2.32%, and we finished really close to that, over 2.2% higher than yesterday's settlement, which was below that $80 barrel yesterday, $80 price point per barrel. 79.74 was that settlement. Today we finished around 81.50. So we're solidly above that $80 barrier, and on the low side, April 3rd was the biggest move recently, but before that, if you exclude that one, you have to go all the way back to March 27th to find a bigger percentage jump than happened today. Now, Russian supply, part of the reason what Russia's weekly crude oil export.
While the market has different outlooks, but WTI has been that of the peculiarity of the energy market. Crude oil current price is $81 per barrel, upward by points, a 0.16% appreciation. For Brent, which is Nigeria's price benchmark, is $86 per barrel, slight upward movement of 0.429 points, a 0.5% appreciation. Let's also move quickly to the forex market to see the values of these markets, the currency pairs, how they're faring, as well as slight upward movement for the euro, but it's still struggling comparatively. The market isn't that volatile. For the pounds against the US dollar, it's still at the part and the peak of 1.24 points, slight downward movement this morning, a negative 0.07% decline. Let's also see the perspective of Naira against these majors. The US dollar against the naira. Current price at the international and exchange window is 459 naira, equaling $1. For the euro against the naira, the euro has gained 2.2 points against the naira. Current price 501 naira, equaling €1. A 0.4 also gained 2.22 points against the naira at the international market. Current price 571 naira, equaling £1. Let's quickly observe proceedings in the parallel market. The parallel market has already had its ups and downs, but a slight decline for naira against the dollar, meaning 742 naira to $1 at buying rate in the black market, and a selling rate is 736 naira to $1 on the average. For pounds to naira, buying rates 930 naira, equaling £1, and 915 naira, equaling £1 at the selling rate on the average. For euro to naira, 810 naira, equaling €1, and 792 naira, equaling €1 at the selling rate on the average. Let's also have a look at the crypto gain for Bitcoin. 6.55% appreciation on a monthly basis. Bitcoin had gained 23.81 percentage points. But this morning, there's a slight decline for Bitcoin, dropping 177 points. Market is moving fast. There's volatility in the market. Current price for Bitcoin is $30,000 for one Bitcoin. Ether, $1,869 for one Ether. The market has faced a slight slump this morning for cryptocurrencies. Quickly, let's get to talk about the Asian sentiment ahead of the release of key US inflation report that could influence the Federal Reserve's interest rates and decisions in May. The outline of this conversation has been that of investors also digesting a raft of economic data in the Asian Pacific region, including the South Korean. The perspective of the market has been quite dominant for some of these markets in Asia. The Nigerian stock market. The Nigerian stock market closed trading with 28.3 trillion naira yesterday. The figure was 569.1 billion naira, or a negative 2% lower than the 28.86 trillion naira posted by the bourse last Thursday. The stock market went on a break last Friday and Monday, indicating a slowdown based on the Easter celebration. Similarly, the All-Share Index dipped by 1,041.14 basis points to close at 51,952.99 points, down from 52,944.13 points achieved last week. Carverton led the gainers list with an 8.25% rise in share price, moving from 97 kobo to 1 naira and 5 kobo per share. ATL Africa topped the losers table after shedding 133 naira 10 kobo to drop from 1,331 naira 10 kobo to 1,198 naira per share. Transcorp led. My name is Blyden Kim. Thank you for watching.